Mark and Fred stopped walking. By the side of the road, a person holding a receiver in his hand on a public telephone was whispering something in a mysterious tone. The tone was commanding, yet it also held an air of secrecy. Both of them perked up their ears. The caller was probably in a great hurry, which is why he hadn't closed the door of the small glass booth. Otherwise, Mark and Fred wouldn't have known what he was saying. His words made their hair stand on end. "Why don't we go to Shunny Road? How good it would be if tonight, exactly at 12 o'clock. Then listen, we can save his life. Who knows who he is, and he will be at his home. House number 11. Why do these people want to kill him? Listen, if you don't succeed in killing him, then it won't be good for you." He had a hat on his head and his face was hidden in the hat and overcoat collars. After talking, he put the receiver down and started to leave. Mark and Fred pretended to be strangers and walked on. They didn't even turn to see where the man went after leaving the telephone booth. After walking a few steps, they turned back as if strolling, but there was no sign of the stranger anywhere. "I think we should go home. Mom only gave us permission to stroll for an hour. If we are late, she will worry and then scold us when we get back," Fred said. "But here a life is at stake. It's entirely up to you." "Shunny Road. House number 11, Mark muttered. "Poor fellow, his doom has arrived. But there are still many hours until 12 o'clock? Mark said meaningfully. "Then what do you want to say?" It was a modest house, and there was some activity inside, which meant someone was present. They walked towards the door with pounding hearts. Soon the door opened. "Why don't you tell me clearly what the matter is? Some people want to kill you. What's the matter?" He looked at them with surprised eyes. "We have come for an important matter. Won't you ask us to come in?" Mark said politely. He smiled and then, making way for them, said, "Come in." He led them to a room. Fred was completely silent. Mark had to speak. "Your life is in grave danger?" "Yes." He jumped as if he had received an electric shock. "Yes, is that unexpected for you?" "No, yes." "I don't understand. Did you say yes or no? Just say it." "Look, you misunderstood us." Fred got angry. "We are not beggars." "Oh, when did I say you are beggars? I mean, maybe you scare and harass people to make money this way." No, there's no such thing." This time Fred spoke again. His anger had not yet subsided. "Then what is the matter?" he asked. "What's your name?" Mark suddenly asked. "Sam. They call me Sam." "All right, Mr. Sam. The matter is that we were passing by our June Road when we heard a person giving a message to someone on the phone. The message was very frightening, so our ears perked up." "But how could you hear the message?" "The telephone is in a small, square glass booth, and when its door is closed, the sound cannot come out." "Yes, you are right, but at that time the street was completely deserted, and the caller was probably in a hurry. He hadn't closed the door." Perhaps you are right. I am grateful to both of you, and if I live, I will definitely reward you. At this moment, I cannot do you any service because I have to arrange for my own survival." He silently watched them. "No, it's nothing. We didn't come here out of greed for any reward." "What?" Sam once again jumped. "Are you people still doing this? Why would we lie? What would we gain? Can you describe the person?" Now, signs of fear were clearly visible on Sam's face. His composure was gone. He had a hat on his head and an overcoat on his body. The coat was completely black, and we couldn't see more than that, because at that time our only effort was that his attention should not be on us. "Then what was the message, and what does it have to do with me?" "If it had nothing to do with you, why would we be here? Anyway, the message was this: Shunny Road, house number 11. He will be at home tonight, exactly at 12 o'clock, he is to be finished. Still, I want to shower you with rewards. It's better if you give me your address. Here, write it on this paper." "But what's the need for that?" "Perhaps I'll need your help again." "All right." Mark began to write his address on the paper. Meanwhile, Sam was lost in thought. Then he suddenly said, "No. I can never save myself from them. They will find me even from a mountain cave, and if I fall into their hands, then..." He fell silent, lost in some thought. "Will you do me a favor?" "Yes, tell me." "It's a very important thing in this packet. Don't open it. Please deliver it as soon as possible to where I want it to go. I am entrusting you with something. Somehow, it needs to reach the Secret Service office. If you fail to deliver this to them, there will be a great loss. This loss is for the country and the nation. Don't worry. This trust will reach there by morning. I also have connections there. Oh, how's that? This is Mark, the son of the late CID Inspector James, Fred said. Inspector James. Oh, what a strange coincidence. As Sam spoke, there was a sudden knock on the door. He stood silently. The knock came again. But he didn't move from his spot. Then came the sound of a window pane breaking, and a smile spread across Sam's face. Who knows why? The sounds of 3 men entering one by one came, and he stood holding his breath. When they had advanced a little, Sam suddenly shouted, "You 3, put your hands up or your bodies will be riddled with bullets." They raised their hands in fear. Sam came out from his spot. A faint smile was on his face. He said with a growl, "Turn your faces to the wall." He could see everyone approaching from there. He grabbed their pistols from their pockets one by one. "Now tell me what should be done with you?" What a coincidence. They couldn't help but be startled. "There's no time for these talks now. You'll know everything. Go away from here as soon as you can." "Very good." They both stood up. They said goodbye to Sam and came out of the house, unaware that as soon as they left, 3 black-clad men entered Sam's house. After they left, Sam immediately stood up. He checked his pistol and, with a calculated smile, said with a growl, "Turn your faces to the wall." He saw them stop. Sam pulled out pistols from the pockets of all 3 one by one. "You came to kill me. That's what you were ordered to do, but I won't say anything. Now you can't escape my grasp. After you, it's your boss's turn. He'll definitely come here to applaud your deeds and won't escape my hands either. You'll find out now how brave you are," he said. Then he addressed his companions. "Oh, search the whole house." The 3 spread out, and after about 15 minutes of searching, they returned with a look of disappointment on their faces. Suddenly, a shot was fired, and Sam's pistol flew into the air and fell to the ground. Sam looked in the direction of the shot. Suddenly, the 3 men heard a terrifying noise. In the doorway stood a mysterious person whose face was covered with a black mask. "Where are the papers?" he roared. He angrily moved forward but suddenly stopped short. His eyes fell on a corner of a piece of paper lying on the meter. He picked up the piece of paper. Seeing the paper being picked up, Sam's face turned pale as if all the blood had been drained from his body. "You tell me or not?" he addressed Sam again. "No." "Then where are they?" "They're not here," Sam replied. "I don't know." "Your audacity." "Yes, you can even kill me, but I'll give it to you." That piece of paper was the same one on which Mark had written his home address and left it. "You say that every day. But today I'll tell you." Mrs. James almost burst into tears. Mark and Fred silently entered the room. Fiona was sitting in an armchair, glaring at them. "Very good. I can ask where you 2 have been for so long. Mum only gave permission for an hour's outing, and now it's been 3 hours. She is very angry with you." "Oh no, Mark pleaded. "We were late due to some important work. In the future we won't be late. However, Fiona, my sister, I will give you a promise to make sure Mum doesn't find out," Fred said. "Then tell me what important work kept you so late." "We can't tell." "Then I'll go to Mum." Fiona quickly got up and headed for the door. Oh, Mark, scared, stood in her way. "If you don't tell, I'll definitely tell Mum, and if you don't let me go, I'll shout right here." "Oh, for God's sake." Fred gritted his teeth. "I think we'll have to tell this devil." "All right, it's a promise, now tell me." And Mark began to tell her the whole story in a soft voice. Fiona was listening intently. She was filled with an extraordinary excitement and happiness. "Where is the packet?" After the story was complete, Fiona asked. "Here it is in my pocket." "Let me see." Mark took the packet out of his pocket and gave it to her. "There are some papers in it, perhaps." Hearing Fiona's words, both fell into thought. Finally, Fred said, "You intend to deliver them to the Secret Service in the morning, don't you?" "Yes, absolutely, that's my intention. It's possible Sam will be forced to tell his enemies where the papers are." No, that can't happen. Mr. Sam seems very tough, and he doesn't care about his life as much as he cares about those papers. If that were the case, he could have saved his life by handing over those papers to us. You're right. But maybe he is Mr. Sam and will turn his face away. You'll succeed in your intention only if this packet remains safe here until morning. What do you mean? Both were badly startled. I think Fiona is right. Then what should we do? Why don't we put it behind Uncle's picture? Fred suggested. They'll look there first, Fiona blurted out. Why don't we dig a hole in the backyard and bury it? I think that would be better, Fred said. The three went to the backyard. They dug a small hole with the help of a spade and buried the packet in it. After finishing this work, they returned to their room. Not even an hour had passed when someone began knocking loudly on the door. Fiona's heart pounded. The door was being knocked loudly, but Fiona, despite being awake, couldn't get up. Then she saw that her mother had gotten up and was going towards the door. Mrs. James opened the door. Four young men stood in the doorway. The face of one of them was covered with a mask. Fiona lay down, but sleep was miles away from her eyes. We're sleeping. And Fiona is going towards their room. They haven't returned yet. Where are they today? Today I'll give them a good scolding, Mum said as soon as she saw Fiona. No, they came home a long time ago, Mum. And they're sleeping in their room. I went to see them. But how did they get in? I didn't even know. Does Mark live here? Why, what's the matter? Mrs. James's heart pounded. Which of you is Mark? Answer what you're asked. I am. What's the matter? Mark said, seemingly startled. Where is the packet? Without answering, they barged in. Which packet? What are you doing inside? What are you saying? Why did you come into the house? Don't pretend to be so innocent. We know everything. I tell you, get out. What do you know? What kind of packet is this? What's going on? Mrs. James was surprised. Keep quiet or we'll have to strangle you, one of them growled. Where is Mark? He must be sleeping in his room. Then let's go to his room. You keep quiet. Yes, Mark, where is the packet? At the Secret Service office. How did it get there? You are lying. I gave the packet to the watchman. Liar. Mark, they're heading towards his room. Search for the packet, talk nonsense. They were still far down the path when their room door opened, and both of them came out. What's the matter, Mum? Mark said, then understood. You are committing an illegal act. It's in your best interest to hand it over to us. Your son knows it very well. Why, Mark? His mother asked. We will answer when you arrest us, he laughed. Yes, Mum. I did find the packet, but it's not here now. I gave it to the watchman of the Secret Service. How many people live in this house? He asked. They thought of Fiona and the two boys. They had left her sleeping in her room. The searchers would also go there and not come back. The thought of them scaring and threatening Fiona made them rush towards the door. You are lying. You went there so quickly and came back. Why don't you believe what I say? Mark said. Where are you going? The masked man growled. I'm sure it's here somewhere. You must have hidden it. Your men shouldn't mess with my things. No, they will only look for the packet. They won't touch anything. We are not thieves. Fred had arrived by then, and Mark's heart began to pound, wondering what Mr. Sam must be thinking. What's in this packet and how did it get here? What happened to Sam? How did they know our address? It contains a valuable secret that we cannot tell you. They returned. Failure was evident on their faces. Very good. I'll ask now. Saying this, the masked man took out a revolver from his pocket. The next moment, the barrel of the revolver was pressed against Mrs. James's temple, and he was saying to her, If you don't tell me where the packet is, I'll shoot you. Boss, we tore up the beds, chairs, and sofas, but we didn't find any trace of the packet. Oh, damn you. You ruined my stuff. Mrs. James almost cried. We had to do it because the packet wasn't found anywhere else. Mark was shaken. At that moment, his condition was very critical. He was helpless. On one side was his mother's life, and on the other, the packet. Is there no one else in the house? The boss asked. Their hearts pounded. They suddenly thought of Fiona. But the next moment they were surprised. One of their companions was saying, No, there's no one else in the house. You have been silent until now. I will count to 10. If you still don't tell me at 10, your mother's dead body will be writhing at your feet. Say it, son. Perhaps if this packet falls into their hands, someone will suffer great harm. So don't worry about my life at all. Is there no one else in the house? The masked man's voice was uncertain. No. At this they were surprised, and so was their mother. Their faces turned pale. Happiness too. Yes. A masked man growled. At the same time, they were worried about where Fiona had gone. They trembled. Both were startled at 3. You come along too, the masked man growled. He also followed Mark, their steps heavy. Their bodies felt lifeless. Fred shouted, I'll tell you. For God's sake, for God's sake. They all came to the backyard. The night was dark. If they didn't have their torches, they wouldn't have been able to see their hands. With pounding hearts, they reached the spot where they had buried the packet. Fred, beware if you tell. Mrs. James shouted. No. This time Mark also couldn't bear it. That packet is buried in the ground near a tree in the backyard. Very good, the masked man said with a smile. What have you done? You've fallen far behind your father. If he were here right now, he would never have told, even if these people tore me to pieces. Come, show me the place now, the masked man said, grabbing him by the shoulder and pushing him. Fred and Mark moved towards the door. This is the place, Mark pointed. They rushed to the spot but stopped short. The soil was piled up in a small heap near the edge of the pit, and the empty pit was mocking the tall thugs. He went out. His companions followed him with bowed heads. As soon as they left, the three of them breathed a sigh of relief. Their mother was about to say something when Mark put a finger to his lips, gesturing for her to be silent. Mother, these people will not leave here yet. They will hide and monitor us. Do not let Fiona's name come to your lips. But where is she? His mother asked in a soft voice. You are lying. You didn't hide the packet here. The masked man's voice was full of anger. Wherever she is safe, and the packet must also be with her. I swear to God we hid it here, Mark immediately said. Then where did it go? You don't see the hole has been dug again. The soil is piled up near its edge. You're right. Let's go inside and sit down now. It seems so. You three come with me, he said to his companions and went to the backyard. The three came inside, but their faces were pale with fear. They were all wondering where Fiona was and in what condition. God knows where she's hiding. In the backyard? His mother said absently. First let's look at all 3 rooms, Fred said. Yes, on some tree. You know, today she's wearing green clothes, so if she climbs a dense tree, not even angels will be able to see her. And she's much better at climbing trees than we are. Oh God, save my child and keep her safe in every way, Mrs. James said softly. You two go. I'll sit here lest those people come again. First they went to their room. Fred called out loudly, Fiona, where are you? Now the danger is over. They received no answer. They went to the second room. Fiona wasn't there either. They even searched the whole house. Fiona was nowhere to be found. Their mother's worry knew no bounds. She came to her mother worried. But if she's safe on a tree until morning, as soon as day breaks, she'll be found. Then what do you think we should do? We should leave everything to Fiona. At this moment, she proves to be wiser than all of us. Yes, but how will she spend the whole night in the branches of the tree? His voice was worried. Let's see, Fred suggested. There's a man at every corner. That's also true, so why don't we try to find her? Mark suggested, then added, let me just peek outside. They couldn't say anything more. Wherever Fiona is, she's safe, Mark muttered, to see if those people are still there or not. Don't worry, I'm not stupid, he said, getting up. First he came to his room. He looked out the backyard window. Then he climbed onto the roof of the house, but he didn't let his head rise above the parapet. He looked around in almost the same position and then dropped with a thud. What are you doing? Fred warned him. And why? Fred asked. He said in a low voice. Did those people leave? Mrs. James asked. No, Mum. They are standing at all 4 corners of the house. But later Mr. Shepherd bought that open area, and now there is a room next to our kitchen that Mr. Shepherd uses as a store. You're right. It means we have to do something before daybreak, Fred said. Look, we can't go to Mr. Shepherd's house through the roof, nor through the door. You are absolutely right. In that case, there's only one way we can get there, Mark said with joy. Then what do you want to say? That you or I should jump through that ventilator? Fred asked. His voice was full of excitement. Mrs. James anxiously asked, and what about that? On the other side of the wall. Yes. Mark said. Are you out of your mind? Are we going to break through the wall? It's not as easy to jump through that ventilator as you think. You'll surely fall headfirst. Friend, just listen. You don't listen to the whole thing and then start talking. All right, tell me what you want to say. My suggestion is to tie a rope to something in the kitchen and hang it through the ventilator to the other side. I don't know, we have a ventilator in our kitchen that leads to Mr. Shepherd's house. On the other side of this ventilator, there was an open field in olden times, and perhaps that's why this ventilator was made to reach the other side by placing a small table and something on it near the ventilator. Fred went and brought a stool from the next room. Yes, is it a brilliant plan? Mark looked proudly at both of them. Absolutely right, Fred affirmed his idea. Goodbye. Mark first climbed onto the big table. Then he said to Fred, give me the other end of the rope. Fred handed it to him. All three stood up. The doors were closed from the inside. Fred placed the big table against the wall. Then a small table was placed on it, and on that, another small table. They were doing this so carefully that there wouldn't be the slightest sound. This work was done to climb up. Mark also climbed onto the table. Then, as he lifted his foot to climb onto the third table, there was a slight sound, and then a loud banging on the door. Their hearts pounded. He stood on the small table and reached out towards the ventilator. His fingers were only an inch away from the ventilator. He lifted his heels, but his hands still couldn't reach the ventilator. He slowly climbed down. We need something about a foot taller, then I can easily reach the ventilator. What about the packet? Mark immediately climbed down. Mark started to climb down. The door was still being knocked. Their hearts were pounding. What do we do now? Mark asked anxiously. First, put these tables back in their place. After that, we'll go to our room and pretend to be asleep, and Mum will open the door as if she just woke up from a very deep sleep. Yes, that will be fine. They did just that, and when Mark and Fred went and lay down in their room, their mother opened the door. You fools, don't be. Those people will come inside and ask about you. What will we answer? The matter will get complicated. Why did you open the door so late? One of them asked. I was sleeping. Now what's the matter? You people are writing. But you were scared and came back. His mother couldn't speak. We didn't even go anywhere. Why isn't it better that I quickly jump to the other side? Fred is right, Mark. Come down. I was sleeping. Now what's the matter? You people are writing. What do you mean? She pretended not to know. What's the matter, Mum? Are you all right? Why have these people come back again? Mark asked, pretending not to know. In their room, where else could they be? God knows, son. Who knows why these people came back again? First, come with us to their room. We will search here again and again. After all, what is the matter with you? Why have you come back? Why are you bothering us? I assure you that the packet is not here. The truth is what I told you. That packet was taken from that hole by Shams. Who knows who? No. Then tell me how your satisfaction can be achieved. All right, we will search. The blue bulb was lit in the room. Wake them up. The masked man said to one of his companions. You are taking the law into your own hands, Mrs. James said in a sharp tone. At this time, the law must be sleeping soundly. Don't worry. We are experts in breaking the law. This is our job. Very good. You can search. Mrs. James moved out of the way. What have these poor fellows done to you? The companion of the masked man moved towards both of them. Open them. After a short while of squirming, they opened their eyes. Very good. You can search. Mrs. James moved out of the way. The masked man's three companions started to search. This time their hearts pounded because they had left the rope tied to the window bar in the kitchen. In their haste, they hadn't thought of it. Wait. I'll come with you and these people too. His tone held a mysterious delight. The search began. The masked man was staring at all three of them one by one. If anyone's gaze fell in any direction, he would signal his companions to search that spot. This time he himself was also turning things over. Yes, where is his rope? The masked man asked in a growling voice. It's in the kitchen, Mrs. James said truthfully. At her truthful statement, Mark and Fred both felt intensely angry. Boss, this? Look, the masked man turned his attention. Oh, what's this? What happened to the headboard of this bed? Why? He fixed his questioning gaze on the three of them. It was used to hang colorful clothes and so on. Oh, all right, perhaps he was somewhat satisfied. It broke. The search began again. Finally they came to the kitchen. The rope was lying on the ground and one end of it was tied to the ventilator's bar. What's this? The rope is usually lying below. The masked man's voice showed suspicion. They stood stiffly as if in a magical land, unable to look back, and I think there's no need to lift stones now because of the trouble, Fred said. When it's needed, I tie the other end to the other window bar. Otherwise, it's difficult to get in and out. What do you mean? Both were surprised at Fred's words. I think they won't stop here now. They must have left now, rather they must have gone by now. Then in such a situation, we must first find Fiona. The masked man was lost in thought. Perhaps he was thinking how far their statement could be trusted. It's gone. There's nothing here. Finally he said and came out with his companions. They also followed him until they came out of the house. The three of them breathed a sigh of relief. I'll go look first, Mark said and first went to his room. He opened the backyard window and then blurted out. No, we should act on our plan, Mark said. Fred immediately followed him. He stood still for a moment. The four thugs were searching with torches. They were shining their torches on the car and also on the branches of the trees. But it's complete. These people won't meet us yet. They're still searching. I think their search is quite thorough. The condition of both of them was such that if you cut them, there would be no blood in their veins. Their faces had turned pale. Their hearts were pounding. In the minds of both of them, there was only one thought. Oh my God, what will happen now? The lights from the torches were dancing here and there. Oh my God, what will happen now? A muffled scream escaped their lips. Trust in God, Mom. He is our helper. What will happen now? If they see Fiona, then? Their minds couldn't think beyond that. What will happen to my Fiona? Mom asked. When it had been quite a while since both of them had gone, Mrs. James became restless, and then she also got up. I think we should both go to the kitchen and start our work, and you should assess the situation here. Also, keep praying that Fiona doesn't get caught. First she came to their room. Mark and Fred were inside but motionless. She moved towards them and placed her hands on their shoulders. Both startled and turned. She gestured to Mum to be silent. Then she asked her to look out of the slightly open window. Mrs. James looked into the backyard, and the torchlights were moving all around. When she put her foot on the third table, the table wobbled. Mark climbed onto the large table first, and she told him to hold the other end of the rope with his hands. Fred handed him the rope. Mark also climbed onto the second table, holding his breath.
He was about to fall down with the tables, but Fred's quick action saved him. He immediately grabbed the legs of the wobbling table. The rope loosened after a full minute. That minute felt like a year to Fred. He pulled the rope and started to put the tables back in their place. Mark hung the rope on the other side. All right, Fred, goodbye. And yes, after I jump to the other side, pull the rope. Put the tables back in their place after removing them from here. He hadn't even moved the large table from the wall when a sound was heard. It was the sound of someone walking towards the kitchen. Fred got scared because he couldn't lift the large table alone, and there was a risk of making a noise if it fell. Fred's heart pounded. The sound of footsteps was now close to the door. Fred opened the kitchen door. Outside stood his mother, and satisfaction was evident on her face. Seeing her, Fred's eyes were fixed on the taut rope. All right, goodbye. Mark placed his hands on the ventilator and began to lift himself with the force of his hands. He had to exert all his strength for this. With great difficulty, he reached the ventilator, and then, holding the rope, he swung to the other side. Fred couldn't see him now, but his eyes were fixed on the taut rope. Until the rope loosened, he couldn't breathe a sigh of relief. And as the rope loosened, my life came back into me. Why, what was the matter? He hadn't even been able to move this big table when footsteps were heard. I thought maybe one of them was coming. No, they have left the backyard now. That means Fiona wasn't found. Yes, thank God. Now tell me, Mark. Has he gone to the other side safely or not? Yes, he has gone. Mr. Shepherd was on tour. So Mrs. Shepherd was alone and sleeping in her room. They shouldn't stay in this room. There was also a servant living with her in this house. who was also the cook and watchman. But since Mr. Shepherd was not home tonight, he was also sleeping soundly. Suddenly his eyes opened. For some time he kept thinking why his eyes had opened. Suddenly a sound came to his ears. So we should remove this table from here before leaving the kitchen. They moved the table and came out. All right. She got up and opened the door. George stood there scared. Yes, now tell me what's the matter? Where is this sound coming from? He sank into thought. Listen carefully. Do you hear any sound? The sound was continuous. What's going on? He mumbled. Is someone trying to break in, or am I imagining things? Oh God, what kind of hole is this? Isn't anyone trying to dig? It seems so to me. We should wake her up. Yes. He got up and went towards Mrs. Shepherd's room. He knocked on the door. Can you tell me? Mrs. Shepherd was not sure. Who is it? What's the matter? He heard a sleepy voice. You can tell me. Mrs. Shepherd fell silent and listened attentively to the sound that was coming continuously. Mrs. Shepherd. It's me. Who? George. Yes. What's the matter with you? Indeed, you are telling the truth. Mrs. Shepherd also said in a low voice. Then what should be done now? I'll call the police. What else can be done? Open the door, I'll tell you. George's voice was scared, so Mrs. Shepherd quickly got up. First, let's see where the sound is coming from. And both of them began to move towards the direction from which the knocking sound had stopped. And for a moment, a deathly silence fell. The loud sound was coming from the storeroom. Who is inside? Mrs. Shepherd asked in a louder voice with George by her side. Then there's nothing like that in the storeroom. Mrs. Shepherd mumbled. It's me, Mark. Mark said, clearing his throat. God knows what's the matter? George said. Who? Mrs. Shepherd asked. Both reached the storeroom door. Now the matter was completely clear. Someone was knocking on the door from inside. Their throats were choked with fear. It's Mark. The boy who lives in the house next to yours, Inspector James's son. How did you get inside and what is all this? Please open the door. I'll tell you everything right now. How did someone get inside? Mrs. Shepherd signaled to George to be ready. She thought that perhaps she was being deceived and that someone else was inside instead of Mark. Once again, she tried to reassure herself. I think it's a genie or a ghost. George's condition was critical. Then, gathering courage, she said in a loud voice, Who is it? Are you Mark? Yes, Auntie. The voice came from inside. Don't talk like a madman, Mrs. Shepherd said. Who else lives in your house? Oh, my mum, my sister Fiona, and Fred. Why are you asking? No. That's why I need to make a call first. Then I'll sit comfortably and tell you everything. I'm checking, lest there be a thief inside who wants to open the door. All right, come with me. I swear to God I'm Mark. I'm Mark. Open the door without hesitation. Mrs. Shepherd brought him to the phone. Mark began to call the police station. Finally, Mrs. Shepherd opened the door. Mark was standing inside. Hello? Who is this? Came a voice from the other side. It's me, Mark, Inspector James's son. What's the matter? Why did you come here? Is everything all right? All right. What's the matter? I got here through this ventilator, Mark said, pointing towards the ventilator. Our lives are in danger right now. We are facing a great danger. 4 thugs are after our lives. Please come immediately. Ventilator. But that's very high up. Yes, it's a long story. But first, I want to make a call somewhere. Where are you calling from? Tell me something. Mrs. Shepherd stood there, surprised. We are in trouble. I'm calling from the house next to ours. This is Mr. Shepherd's house. And you know we live on the highway. He dialed Inspector Green's phone number. Inspector Green was a close friend. What's the matter? The phone rang for a while on the other side. Someone picked up the phone and a muffled voice was heard. Hello. It was Inspector Green's voice. Mark didn't recognize him at first. Peace be upon you, Uncle. Who are you? You didn't recognize me. I'm Mark, Uncle, he said, swallowing. Mark you. And at this time. Is everything all right? The inspector's tone expressed surprise and concern. Uncle, we are in grave danger. Come quickly. We. Where are you calling from? What's the matter? I can't tell you the details over the phone because every second is precious. There are only 2 hours left until daybreak, and if day breaks and you people don't arrive by then, we might not find anyone among us. Besides, it's possible that the country and nation may suffer irreparable damage. All right, I'm coming. And yes, those people are scattered all around our house. So please park your car far away. I will meet you at Mr. Shepherd's door. All right, don't worry. We know these methods. From Mr. Shepherd's house.
What's the matter? There's no time to explain. Just arrive quickly and I'll be there. All right, I've called the police too. Good. I'm coming. Saying this, he hung up the receiver. Fred went to the roof to observe the situation outside. He looked up and all around. He saw the four thugs strolling around, but at the same time, a historical light fell on him. The next moment, a voice emerged in the air. What are you doing on the roof? Get down immediately or we will shoot you. Fred felt all the blood in his body freeze. He trembled and started to climb down, stumbling. His mother, standing downstairs, worried, watching him. You can lie. Now we are sure that the packet is somewhere here. Now you cannot hide yourselves. What happened? They saw me on the roof. The packet is not here. What do we need that packet for? If it were with us, we would have given it to you long ago. This is a big problem. Now they'll get suspicious. God knows if Mark succeeded in making the call or not. The words were still in their mouths when the door banged again. This time it was knocking very loudly. Where is your other companion? What's his name, Mark? The masked man growled. Now the trouble has come. They'll ask about Mark. What will be our answer? He's in the bathroom. He'll be back soon. We'll say he went to the bathroom. The masked man said to one of his companions, go to the roof and see if the packet is there. The door was still being knocked. Finally they opened the door. The packet is here somewhere and I'll recover it. After that, it won't be good for any of you three. You have bothered us all night. What were you doing on the roof? You have bothered us all night and we haven't slept a wink. Mrs. James said as if explaining. Mark hasn't arrived yet. The masked man's tone was suspicious. Yes, yes, he emphasized and looked at the masked man with eyes full of anger. Tell me if he's here. What do you do? Fred, having just gotten angry, looked at the masked man with angry eyes. Then you won't tell me where the packet is? He just went. He'll be back. A laugh from the masked man was heard in response. If it's not here, why didn't you tell me? Fred repeated his question. I can't answer your question. What did you do to Mr. Sam? Fred suddenly asked. Perhaps his intention was to engage him in conversation. What's in this packet? There's no difference between your first and second questions. You'll know by morning. But no, not by morning. So maybe none of you will survive yet. So let me tell you. He betrayed us, and for that, I can't answer that question either. He betrayed us, and the punishment for betrayal is death. Understand? Exactly. Mark isn't here yet. So he was a traitor? He'll come. He actually has a complaint about constipation. Yes. This packet was with me. He took it, Fred said without hesitation. While he stopped speaking. Are you the leader of this group? At that moment, the masked man's companion who had gone to the roof returned. Why? No, boss. There's nothing on the roof. Let's go see where Ram's hand is. What were you doing on the roof? The masked man asked Fred. The masked man ordered Fred to go check Ram's hand. I've told you already. I want to hear it. Come on. Fred said carelessly and went with him. The masked man's companion first called Mark, but when no sound came from inside, he hesitated and went inside. Oh, there's no one here, he blurted out. What did you say? Is Mark not here? No. Look carefully, dear Fred. In his heart he laughed. Perhaps he understood Fred's purpose. The masked man's companions also stood silent. You're out of your mind. Is he a swati that I should look carefully? Mark didn't come. I feel something is wrong. Is there any fly in the latrine? Fred asked. Liar. I didn't tell him either. Look, I will treat you like myself, the masked man said, shaking his shoulder. You've been treating me well all night, haven't you? Now you'll treat me badly? Yes. I've been gentle with you all night, but I won't now. Mrs. James stood silently listening to their conversation. Actually, he asked, Actually, he wanted to kill time. We can't find him. Because we haven't lost sight of the person who went outside for a moment. Why? What do you mean? There was surprise in his tone. I mean, what if he turned into a fly by magic? Don't talk nonsense. This masked man's companion came out in a rage and pushed him. How come you don't know? He came out in a rage and pushed him, his steps filled with surprise. Come on, now we'll see how much courage you have. How can he get out of the house? The masked man was surprised. Fred came several steps forward due to the push. Both then returned to where Mrs. James, the masked man, and his other two companions were standing. God knows, what can we say? Where is he? The masked man looked at both of them and said, Did you search thoroughly? Absolutely. We didn't leave any stone unturned. You three stay here. I'll make sure. He's not in the latrine. So these liars were saying, you three will decide the fate of these two. He looked at them angrily and said. Fred laughed to himself. Their few minutes were wasted, and that's what Fred and Mum wanted. A little later he came back, clenching his fists in anger. Mr. Fred, put all 5 fingers of your left hand into this, the masked man said, holding the device in his hand. One of you stand at the outer door and take these two to the room. No, no, Fred shouted in a terrified voice. Mrs. James was trembling and her face was pale. And if Mark comes, bring him to me immediately. If anyone else tries to enter, shoot him without hesitation. Sher Khan, take out the knife, the masked man roared. Sher Khan took out a knife from his pocket. The creaking of the knife sent shivers down their spines. Their throats went dry and their legs trembled. The masked man's companion herded them like animals into the room. Place the knife point on Fred's neck. If he doesn't put his fingers in the vise, press the point a little. If he still doesn't, press a little more, the masked man said commandingly. Sher Khan, take out your finger-squeezing vise. It will be known now how tough these people are and how long they will not tell, he said to one of his companions. Sher Khan took out a strange device from his pocket. It had 5 finger-shaped slots. From Fred's mouth came a muffled scream. Mrs. James couldn't hold back. Why are you doing this? Don't you have any pity? The pressure increased. Fred's mouth screamed, but he didn't tell them anything. The masked man took the vise off his fingers. Keep quiet and watch the show. Your turn will come too. Now you put your fingers in this, he said to Mrs. James. Sher Khan touched Fred's neck with the knife's tip. A heart-wrenching scream escaped Fred's lips. The next moment he put his fingers into the vise. Mrs. James was watching helplessly. No, don't do this cruelty. It's just me. Why did you come, Mark? The masked man said, and the vise began to tighten. Muffled sobs escaped Fred's mouth. Keep quiet. Come on, old woman, you haven't told me. Where is the packet? Where is Mark? Mrs. James silently put her fingers in the vise. Fred remained silent. To bear the pain, he clenched his lips. His eyes were watering from the intensity of the pain, but he remained silent. Mrs. James, unable to bear it, closed her eyes. Fred, you are familiar with this pain. Now, pain will be inflicted on my mother. These old fingers. Don't think that I didn't put enough pressure on your fingers. I only showed you a sample. The real thing is just beginning. You can bear your pain, but can you bear your mother's pain too? You can bear it, but will you bear your mother's pain too? Then take this. The masked man put more pressure on the vise, and a heart-wrenching scream escaped her lips. Fred remained silent. The masked man began to tighten the vise. Mrs. James began to sob. Fred became restless seeing her. He could bear his own pain, but this was a matter of everyone's life at this moment. He remained silent. The pressure on the vise continued to increase until screams began to escape his mother's mouth. Fred's patience ran out. He screamed, Stop. Stop this cruelty. I'll tell you everything. The masked man began to loosen the vise. Fred, Mrs. James shouted, beware if you utter a single word. But Mom, I can't see all this. I can't hear your screams. Then close your eyes. Stuff your fingers in your ears, Mrs. James said, wiping her tears. He began to walk towards his door until he reached the door. He put his hand on the door. He pressed it slightly so that no sound was produced. The door was closed from the inside. The masked man's companions were not outside. This could only mean two things. Either they had left or they were still inside. The second situation was extremely worrying for him. About 10 or 15 minutes had passed since the call, but no one had arrived yet. Mark was at home, and every minute was passing with extreme anxiety. He mustered courage and peeked outside, but he didn't see any of the masked men or their companions. He was very surprised. Suddenly, he saw the headlights of a car, and his heart leaped with joy. Then the car's lights went out. He came out of Mr. Shepherd's villa. He still didn't see anyone. Now his surprise knew no bounds. He leaned against the wall and reached them. It was a police inspector. "Are you Mark?" "Who is it?" a voice asked from inside. Hearing the voice, Mark's heart pounded. "It's me, Mark. Open the door." "Yes." "What's the matter?" the inspector asked, grabbing his revolver. Where had you gone?" "The masked men were here. So now is not the time for discussion. First, let's go inside. I think we will be able to save the people inside." "What will happen to them?" His companions quickly grabbed the door, and the masked men didn't open the door. Fred was quickly telling him, "Tell me something." "Yes, now tell me." "All right." He signaled his men to move forward, and he himself followed Mark. "No, I'm not telling." Fred stuck to his guns again. "All right, this is a distant matter," Fred said carelessly. "I'll call the door and tell my name so they don't get alerted." Mark whispered, "Well done." Mrs. James exclaimed, "Your search will remain unfinished." The masked man took the wide vise and moved towards Mrs. James. Just then the door opened. His companion entered, bringing Mark with him. "My or your?" Fred said. He spoke, seeing Mark. "Very good. Where was he?" "He was gone." "Keep quiet. Just tell me where the packet is." "It's here." "But now your angels can't even find it." "God knows." "Yes." He had knocked on the door. Was there no one else with him? "Forget about angels. We ourselves will find it." "Then find it." "No, boss, he was alone." "Then put your fingers in this," he said, moving the vise towards Mark. "Where had Mark gone?" the masked man growled. "What's this?" "I just went for a walk." "A tool to extract information." "Don't talk nonsense." "But how did you get out of the house?" The masked man was still surprised. Mark said mockingly, "I had said he would dissolve into thin air." Fred blurted out, "Dissolved into thin air? You have a very sharp tongue. I'll treat you now." Just then the door opened with a loud bang. Oh. The police inspector had a revolver in his hand. Beware. No one should move from their place. They were startled. Fred and Mrs. James's faces. Everyone was shocked. Fred and Mrs. James's faces lit up with happiness. "Hands up," the inspector ordered them. Mrs. James's face then drooped again. "If you don't tell me then," the masked man said, and tried to press the trigger of the revolver, but at that moment, a shot was fired and his hand was hit and the revolver fell to the ground. The inspector jumped on the revolver and picked it up. "Very good, sir," the masked man said, and began to raise his hands. But the inspector couldn't see that there was something in his hand. He only realized it when the knife was plunged into his hand and the revolver fell to the ground. "Beware. If anyone tries to move from their place, I will not hesitate to shoot." A booming voice came from outside the door. One of the masked man's companions stepped forward, lunged at the revolver, and said as he picked it up, "Now you raise your hands." They all stood still. "Take the knife from the inspector's hand and take it into your possession." The masked man ordered one of his companions, "Inspector, order your men to take possession of the weapons of the masked man and his companions." A voice came again, and the police officers didn't even wait for the inspector's order. "Now I repeat my question. Tell me the location of the packet immediately, or I will shoot everyone." The 4 constables moved forward immediately. The constables took out pistols and knives from the pockets of the masked man and his companions, and began to tie their hands behind their backs. The inspector bandaged his wounded hand. After their hands, it was the turn of their feet. And now all 4 of them were helpless on the ground. The masked man's face was behind the mask. Yet, it could be said that at that moment he must have been going crazy. Very good. A commanding voice came again. Now there's no harm in coming inside because the situation is completely under our control. At the end of these words, a tall young man entered. Hey Mark, now tell me what's the matter? Inspector Green? Mark reached him full of surprise. You also sit down and tell the constables to sit down too, he said in a low voice. Yes, son. I actually arrived before the police party. At home I thought I'd let these people arrive first. Then, depending on the situation, I'll intervene. Now tell me what's the story? The story is very long. Listen calmly. He had heard them giving the order to kill over the phone. Do you recognize the person who made the call? Inspector Green asked. It will be a long story. Why don't we tie these four first? Mark suggested. No, because he had hidden his face quite well. But I can definitely say that his appearance was exactly like that gentleman, Mark said, pointing to the masked man. That's also fine. Yes, he said. Yes, why not? Let's go to the backyard first and see, Mark said. Inspector Green, you stay here with your constables. None of them should move. You can be sure. Mark, Fred, their mother, and Green came to the backyard. Mark and Fred had torches in their hands. After reaching the backyard, Mark called out, Fiona, where are you? Come out now, there's no danger. Mark called out. Now where is Fiona? Inspector Green said, looking around. God knows where she is. Wherever you are, the packet will also be there. And as far as I can guess, she must be sitting in some tree in the backyard. Suddenly, the branches of a tree shook. And for God's sake, you're sitting calmly and telling a story. Who knows what condition she's in? First, we should go and inquire about her. I am here. Is everything all right? Hearing Fiona's voice, everyone's faces lit up with happiness. Yes, it's better to find Fiona first. Absolutely. Come down, Inspector Green said with a smile. He said with a smile. As soon as she arrived, she led her mother to Mark and Fred's room, and I went out the door. I just took the packet from the pit and climbed the tree. I've climbed this tree many times before. It's a very good place to hide in its branches. If I had my clothes on, they still wouldn't have been able to see me. A little later, Fiona was climbing down the tree with the packet held in her mouth. Well done, my daughter. You acted very wisely. If you hadn't, this packet would surely have fallen into the hands of those thugs. But, daughter, how did you get this idea? Uncle Green said, applauding her. Thank you, Uncle. The thing is, when Mark and Fred were burying the packet in the pit, I was already thinking that if some people came looking for the packet, what would happen? Would they succeed in finding out the packet's location by being harsh? That time came. Mum went to open the door and I was clinging to the wall. The four thugs entered. Were you looking for me? What did you say? Fred asked. I was on that tree. Were those people looking for me? Were they being harsh to find out the packet's location? No, we didn't tell them anything about you. If we had told them, then perhaps they would have found you. They were searching for the packet here. Well, that's very good. You also did a very wise thing by not mentioning Fiona's name in front of those people. Then let's go now. Let's see who these people are and what's in this packet. Then they came to the same room. Everyone was in their place. Green waved the packet in front of the four. This is the packet you were looking for, Uncle. These spies have defeated you utterly. Perhaps you have never suffered such a great defeat in your life, and this girl has done wonders. Just imagine she has accomplished the greatest feat of that night. Now, if these papers had fallen into their hands, it would have been a great loss. Some valuable secrets of the country would have fallen into the hands of the enemy, and we would have been ruined. Let me see what's in this packet that almost cost you your life. Uncle Green opened the packet. There were some papers in it. Nothing but papers. He began to read the papers. As he read, his eyes widened with surprise and fear. He read all the papers. Now, drops of sweat appeared on his forehead, even though it was the season of pink winters. Oh God, it was indeed your mercy on this country, on this nation, he muttered. Mark, what is written in these papers? He asked anxiously. Son, these are not things for you to know, and I cannot tell you because it's legally not allowed. I can only say that if these papers had fallen into their hands, our country would have suffered irreparable damage. You three have accomplished such a great feat that I cannot express it. I cannot describe. Just imagine, one big thing is that your father was killed by the same group. You have got your father's killers arrested. He spoke to the police inspector. "I'll tell you what happened there. If anything goes wrong, I'll call you." "All right, Inspector." He saluted. "Wait a minute. I'll ask them one thing." Mark had an idea. Everyone's mouths hung open in surprise, and Mrs. James's eyes filled with tears. She remembered her husband. "Who?" "From Mr. X. You must ask." "You don't worry. Now no power in the world can save them from the gallows." "Then why didn't you ask him about it? You knew that Fiona also lives in this house." Suddenly Mr. Green had an idea. He ordered the inspector, "Remove this person's mask." Mark asked. The inspector stepped forward and snatched off the mask. Mark, Fred, Fiona, Mrs. James, and Inspector Green were astonished. "Shirazi," he blurted out. It never occurred to them that their neighbor, Mr. Shepherd, would be the leader of the criminals. They had never even thought of that. "We were looking for him in the backyard too because of Fiona. We didn't find them here. Otherwise, we would have left after searching for the first time." "All right. Now you can take them away." The masked man and his companions were put into the jeep. Then the jeep drove off. "Oh, Mark, you come with me," Uncle Green said. "Let's go." Mark and Fred went with him. There they found Sam's residence. Inspector Green called the police and returned. The next day, newspapers published pictures of Mark, Fred, Fiona, and Inspector James on the front page. Along with their story, the story of Inspector James was repeated once again, who had sacrificed his life for his homeland.